Chapter 1127 Lunatic. Chapter 1127 Lunatic. Bastard, you amused yourself by watching us fighting and killing each other. You treated us as playthings. Damn it. Curses could be faintly heard among the crowd. However, Dan Shin did not care. He added, when I saw so many people come to this area, I knew it was time for me to come out again. Since then, humans gathered here. Just as what you have seen, I threw out the elixirs one after another. You killed each other madly in order to contend for them, and I had some fun. That was good for both sides. Good for both sides. The experts present gnashed their teeth and glared at Dan Shin. Dan Shin said all this easily, but they risked their lives in order to attain those elixirs. Boy, you are Jian Wushuang, right? Dan Shin's evil voice sounded again. Hey! Jian Wushuang looked up at Dan Shin. You should be thankful to me. Without me, you couldn't have obtained 3 nirvana elixirs at once. Dan Shin grinned and said. Jian Wushuang's face fell. He knew that he would not be so lucky. The last 3 nirvana elixirs that Dan Shin threw out moved directly toward him. As he expected, Dan Shin did this on purpose. I've noticed you when you were scrambling for life medicines. You are merely an Eternal Realm rookie, but your battle strength is awesome. Even in the eternal chaotic world, you are like a monster. I'm naturally more interested in you. Dan Shin smiled. Really? I really appreciate it. Jian Wushuang said coldly. It seemed that Dan Shin offered him benefits. In fact, Dan Shin amused himself by doing so. Although he had acquired 3 nirvana elixirs, he experienced a near escape. Seeing Jian Wushuang's expression, Dan Shin was not annoyed. He looked around and said, Fine, I'm not gonna talk nonsense to you guys anymore. Now that I appeared, I definitely will find a master. I'm wondering who is interested in my Dan Shin palace? Upon hearing that, the experts from the 2 camps suddenly looked up and were burning with greed. Their desire was stronger than ever. They knew that there were a lot of precious elixirs in the Dan Shin palace. Perhaps the nirvana elixirs and life elixirs were not the best elixirs there. After all, they just saw Dan Shin crush 2 nirvana elixirs causally and threw them away like rubbish with their own eyes. Whoever was able to become the master of the Dan Shin palace and obtain a large number of elixirs from it was bound to receive great opportunities. With these elixirs, be it the Jin Kingdom or the Green Fire Palace, their strength would usher in an unprecedented leap. Dan Shin, tell me what conditions are required if I want to be the master of the Dan Shin palace? Sunrise Sword Emperor said indifferently. Dan Shin laughed weirdly and said, Now I'm in charge of the Dan Shin palace. It's easy to become its master. You just need to find a way to please me. To please you. The experts from the 2 camps froze. How about this? There is a piece of iron in my hand and I believe you all know that, right? Dan Shin stretched his hand so that everyone could see that piece of pitch-black iron clearly. This is black iron. Everyone present could recognize it. The black iron was the most common and abundant metal in the whole world. Not to mention the green fire world, even in the ancient world, it was very common. Dan Shin, what do you do with a piece of black iron? The experts present were very puzzled. Listen, if you want to make me happy, you have to find a way to attain more black iron. I don't need too much, 500,000 kilograms are sufficient. Dan Shin said. 500,000 kilograms of black iron? The expressions of the experts here turned more eccentric. There were plenty of ordinary metals such as the black iron in the green fire world. Not to mention 500,000 kilograms of black iron, they could easily collect even 50 million kilograms of such things. The problem was that as powerful celestial masters, they would not put such common things in their interspatial rings. Which celestial master would pile up so much ordinary black iron in his interspatial ring? Haha, I know that you don't have black iron at hand, but it exists in the area where you are right now. There are innumerable black iron veins under the mountains that look like a human face. You can acquire as much black iron as you want so long as you are willing to work hard. Dan Shin smiled. Hearing his words, the experts from the 2 camps were black in the face. How dare this bastard ask us to mine black iron? He doesn't want a master but makes fun of us. Mining black iron? I have never done such a thing since I was born. Roars of low-pitched growls sounded among the crowd, and the experts from the two camps glared at Dan Shin. But no matter how wrathful they were, Dan Shin never paid any attention to that. The opportunity is right here. If you want to own the Dan Shin Palace, just give it a try. If you are not willing to do that, I won't force you. Dan Shin smiled. In addition, the opportunities are limited. Whoever attains 500,000 kilograms of black iron can try first. You have to treasure the opportunity. After that, Dan Shin directly slept on the ground, ignoring the experts from the two camps. Seeing this scene, though furious, the Celestial Masters from the two camps had no other choice. After all, Dan Shin never forced them to do that. Did it or not, that was their choice. What should we do? Are we really going to mine black iron? Let us mine black iron. How dare he dream up that, bastard? Complaints were heard everywhere in the camp of the Green Fire Palace. Jian Wushuang, am I not wrong? Dan Shin's heart has been distorted over the years. He is crazy, a complete lunatic. Jiyu King's voice rang out. I believe even if you really follow his instructions and obtain 500,000 kilograms of black iron, I am afraid you cannot get a chance to own the Dan Shin Palace either. Yeah, I can figure out that. Jian Wushuang nodded his head. From Dan Shin's behaviors, he could tell that he was a lunatic. Jian Wushuang. When he heard the voice, he saw Celestial Master Yi and Celestial Master Meng Long, who were on good terms with him, walked toward him. Chapter 1128, Put the Shoe on the Right Foot. Chapter 1128, Put the Shoe on the Right Foot. Celestial Master Yi, Celestial Master Meng Long. Jian Wushuang smiled and greeted them. Well, where is Celestial Master Jin Chu? Jin Chu died. Celestial Master Yi sighed. Jian Wushuang froze but soon shook his head. He had even nearly been killed by Heaven Shadow King in that fierce battle, therefore, as a medium Celestial Master, Jin Chu was very likely to die. Dan Shin, that old bastard, is clearly making fun of us. Celestial Master Yi swore in a low voice. All right, stop complaining. Celestial Master Meng Long glanced at Celestial Master Yi and then asked, Jian Wushuang, will you mine the black iron? No. Jian Wushuang directly shook his head. What about you? Celestial Master Meng Long and I plan to take our chance. It's no big deal but merely to mine 500,000 kilograms of black iron, and it's nothing serious even if the Dan Shin Palace doesn't recognize one of us as its master after that. But once we succeed in doing that, it will be beneficial to both us and the Green Fire Palace. Celestial Master Yi said. Jian Wushuang lifted his eyebrows and nodded. Celestial Master Yi and Celestial Master Meng Long quickly set off. Apart from them, the better part of the other Celestial Masters from the Green Fire Palace chose to mine the black iron. Only a few people were unwilling to contend for that. Jian Wushuang was one of them. Of course, instead of cherishing his dignity, he did do that because he was not interested in the Dan Shin Palace. Be it the life elixirs or the nirvana elixirs, they don't do me much good. I fought for them for the sake of the Green Fire Palace. I have had enough life elixirs and even 3 nirvana elixirs, so I have done my best for the Green Fire Palace. As for making the Dan Shin Palace recognize me as its master, Jian Wushuang glanced at the Dan Shin Palace that was still located in the restriction and shook his head. He was well aware that Dan Shin would never allow others to become the master of the Dan Shin Palace so easily. And even if it finally had a master, that would never be him. Since the Dan Shin Palace is a place to store elixirs, his master must be the one who has gained great attainments on refining elixirs or can recognize all the elixirs. Jian Wushuang, you don't know anything about refining elixirs and the categories of elixirs. It's impossible for the Dan Shin Palace to recognize you as its master. This was what Jiyu King said to him. Jian Wushuang also knew this, so he had no intention to get himself involved in the following dealings. Ignored the present experts, Jian Wushuang walked to Sunrise Sword Emperor. Sunrise Sword Emperor. Jian Wushuang saluted. Oh, Jian Wushuang. Sunrise Sword Emperor looked at Jian Wushuang. Although he still looked deadpan, there was a hint of kindness in his eyes. Thank you for saving me just now, Sword Emperor. Jian Wushuang said gratefully. You are a member of my Green Fire Palace and you were risking for the Green Fire Palace. Since I arrived here, I was obliged to save you. Any other palace masters will rescue you without hesitation. Sunrise Sword Emperor said. Although Sunrise Sword Emperor said so, Jian Wushuang still appreciated him a lot. After all, without him, his world body would have been exterminated. Even though he would not die, the treasures on him might be seized by others. Furthermore, some of his secrets would be exposed. Sunrise Sword Emperor, these are 3 Nirvana elixirs and all the life elixirs I have just acquired. Jian Wushuang took out an interspatial ring and handed it to Sunrise Sword Emperor. As soon as Sunrise Sword Emperor glanced over that, he looked quite surprised. Why don't you leave 1 Nirvana elixir for yourself? It will be of great use for you in the future. Jian Wushuang obtained the 3 Nirvana elixirs through a near escape and he himself needed them too. No one would have any objection if he wanted to keep one. No. Jian Wushuang shook his head. I'm not even a Dao master currently and there's still a long way to go if I want to reach that stage. Therefore, this elixir doesn't do much good to me. It would be better to give them to other experts in the Green Fire Palace. Perhaps this will enable the Green Fire Palace to possess one more palace master. Sunrise Sword Emperor raised his eyebrows and looked at those life elixirs. 29 life elixirs. It's quite a lot. Jian Wushuang smiled helplessly. He did obtain quite a few life elixirs. He had ventured this area for 17 years and attained 11 life elixirs. Moreover, he killed nearly 20 celestial masters from the Jin Kingdom in the fierce battle just now and obtained quite a few life elixirs as well. Thus, he had 29 life elixirs in total. You don't have to give these life elixirs to me. When you return to the Green Fire Palace, exchange them for fire points directly in the Fire Point Exchange Office. Sunrise Sword Emperor smiled. I exchange them in the Fire Point Exchange Office? Jian Wushuang's eyes narrowed. Void Temple Master had announced that a life elixir could exchange for 10,000 fire points. 29 life elixirs naturally could exchange for 290,000 fire points. This was definitely an astronomical figure. Jian Wushuang, if you don't have anything important to do on this battlefield, why don't you return to the Green Fire Palace as soon as possible? Sunrise Sword Emperor suddenly said. Return to the Green Fire Palace as soon as possible? Why? Jian Wushuang asked. You should know that our palace has controlled many places of opportunities on this battlefield. The most important ones should be the 3 secret lands. Among them, the Sword World will open again before long. Sunrise Sword Emperor explained. The Sword World is about to open? Jian Wushuang was taken aback. The most important one among the 3 secret lands was the Spacetime Secret Land. It only opened every million years. The second important one was the Sword World. The Sword World only opened every 100,000 years. Jian Wushuang was very curious about it when he heard about it for the first time. He didn't expect he would be able to enter the Sword World in a short period, but now, you have performed exceptionally meritorious services for our Green Fire Palace by acquiring 3 Nirvana elixirs, 29 life elixirs, and killing so many experts from the Jin Kingdom. Our palace always put the shoe on the right foot. We cannot offer you treasures whose value matches that of the 3 Nirvana elixirs, so after I return to the Green Fire Palace, I will discuss with other palace masters about offering you the opportunity to enter the Sword World. The Sword World means a great opportunity for warriors who major in sword principles. I've been there before, and I have gained a lot. Your talent on sword principles is even better than mine and I believe you can obtain more benefits. Sunrise Sword Emperor smiled. Chapter 1129, The Potential to be a Leader. Chapter 1129, The Potential to be a Leader. When he learned that the Sword World was about to open, Jian Wushuang immediately returned to the Green Fire Palace without hesitation. After all, it only opened every 100,000 years. If he missed the opportunity this time, he had to wait another 100,000 years to enter it again. On the way back to the Green Fire Palace, he received a message from Celestial Master Yi and Celestial Master Menglong. Dan Xin was indeed making fun of them. Quite a few celestial masters from the two camps followed his instructions to mine black iron on that battlefield recklessly. Within a few days, someone had gathered 500,000 kilograms of black iron. Nonetheless, when they handed the black iron to Dan Shin, he said whoever had cultivated for more than 500,000 years were not qualified to become the master of the Dan Shin Palace. Many celestial masters from the two camps had been outraged by this. Each one of the celestial masters here had lived a long time. 90% of them had lived for more than millions of years, and only a few had just lived for 100,000 years. As for people whose cultivation age did not exceed 500,000 years, there were few celestial masters in the two camps who met that condition. In addition, Dan Shin also said that apart from that condition, the one who wanted to be the Dan Shin Palace's master must possess great attainments on refining elixirs and have to pass the test of the Dan Shin Palace. All of a sudden, all the celestial masters from the two camps outside the Dan Shin Palace lost the qualification. Those celestial masters had worked hard to mine the black iron, but they had no chance to give it a shot at last. Naturally, they flew into a rage but could do nothing to Dan Shin. They all knew Dan Shin was a complete lunatic. He controlled the Dan Shin Palace, so they had to listen to what he had said. In short, the battle for the Dan Shin Palace had calmed down and the celestial masters from the two camps had also left, leaving the Dan Shin Palace to stay where it was. The two camps had already sent some younger ones who possessed great attainments on refining elixirs here, but no one knew whether there was anyone who had become its master in the end. In a lofty palace in the Jin Kingdom. Your Excellency, this is the information about Jian Wushuang from the Green Fire World. A silver-robed man walked in. Information about Jian Wushuang? It finally comes. A barefoot bald man stood at the center of the hall. He looked cold and had eyes like a hawk. He took the information with a wave of his hand and began to look through it carefully. More than a decade ago, when Chu Yang sent Jian Wushuang's name back to the Jin Kingdom, the senior officials of the Jin Kingdom already ordered people to investigate Jian Wushuang. However, since the Jin Kingdom's force in the Green Fire World was limited, their intelligence capabilities were naturally not so good. That was why the bald man just received the information about Jian Wushuang. After he glanced over the intelligence about Jian Wushuang, his eyes turned cold. Jian Wushuang is from the ancient world and is indeed an eternal realm expert. Since he was born, he has been cultivating for only more than 2,000 years. The bald man felt that it was incredible. He could remain calm when learning that Jian Wushuang was only an eternal realm expert, but when he saw his cultivation age, he was shocked. 2,000 years. He killed nearly 20 celestial masters from my country in the battle of contending for life elixirs. He possesses the battle strength equivalent to that of a celestial master at the exceptional realm, but he has only cultivated for more than 2,000 years. He is so powerful now, and if he is given another 2,000 years or even 20,000 years, how mighty will he be? Sunrise Sword Emperor is already a big headache for our country. Nevertheless, Jian Wushuang has greater potential than Sunrise Sword Emperor. This barefoot, bald man roared. The Jin Kingdom and the Green Fire Palace had fought with each other on this giant battlefield for 5 million years. The two sides had long been each other's sworn enemy. It seemed that the Jin Kingdom always had the absolute upper hand over so many years. In fact, be it the Jin Kingdom or the Green Fire Palace, they were clear that this situation would not last long. After all, the Jin Kingdom was an outsider who had no foundation on this battlefield. However, the Green Fire Palace had the entire Green Fire world to support it. It was deeply rooted here and experts appeared continually. It was only a matter of time before it overtook the Jin Kingdom in strength. However, the Jin Kingdom had one greatest advantage over the Green Fire Palace: it had a leader. Its leader was its monarch, who was a supreme being in the Jin Kingdom and always kept his promises. The Green Fire Palace, however, had never produced a leader that matched the monarch of the Jin Kingdom from its establishment till now. The Jin Kingdom surely would exploit this advantage to the full. They did not expect the Green Fire Palace to have an expert that was likely to be a leader. They had sensed a crisis the moment Jian Wushuang's mother Ji Wuming appeared many years ago. Therefore, when they learned that the Green Fire Palace was going to send her into the samsara, They immediately dispatched a large number of experts to eliminate her. That was really a horrifying battle. But in the end, she entered the samsara. This made the Jinn kingdom feel terribly uneasy because she was the first person who was qualified to be the leader of the Green Fire Palace. But fortunately, they received the news that there was something bad happened during the process and Ji Wuming failed to be the leader of the Green Fire Palace temporarily. And the second person that upset the Jinn kingdom was Sunrise Sword Emperor. Although he was just a celestial master presently, his battle strength matched that of a universe master. Precisely speaking, he was even a little bit powerful than an ordinary universe master. If he broke through to the universe master level, he would possess the horrifying power to become the leader of the Green Fire Palace. Moreover, he had fully grown up and it was extremely difficult for the Jinn kingdom to exterminate him in advance. That was why the Jinn kingdom would have such a headache. What was more terrible was that the barefoot bald man felt the same threat on Jian Wushuang, greater than the threat that Sunrise Sword Emperor posed to him. Sunrise Sword Emperor is indeed extraordinary, but he can only possess the battle strength to be a leader after he becomes a universe master. However, Jian Wushuang, he is so mighty even at the eternal realm. When he becomes a Tao master, he is supposed to match a common universe master. Once he integrates all his sword principles together and becomes a celestial master, he probably will possess the battle strength to be a leader. If he is lucky enough to become a universe master, maybe our monarch is no match for him, I am afraid. Chapter 1130, The Blaze Quicksand Gourd. Chapter 1130, The Blaze Quicksand Gourd. He is very likely to become a universe master and definitely will become a celestial master. That means if he doesn't die, he is destined to be the leader of the Green Fire Palace. The barefoot bald man's eyes surged with killing intent. I cannot allow him to become a celestial master. Deliver my order. Ask Axe to fix his eyes on Jian Wushuang and do his utmost to figure out his trump cards. Then contrive a method to cooperate with other experts from the Jinn kingdom to kill him. If necessary, kill him at the risk of exposing himself. The command of the bald man was quickly conveyed. Jian Wushuang did not know that the senior officials of the Jinn kingdom had already targeted him. He headed toward the Green Fire Palace after leaving the area where the Danshin Palace was at. It took him more than 20 years to return to the Green Fire Palace. I'm back. Jian Wushuang felt so good after returning to the Green Fire Palace. For the first time, he spent less than 100 years on that giant battlefield, but he had gained considerably. In terms of strength, he was much powerful than he was when he newly entered the battlefield. Jian Wushuang, go to the Fire Point Exchange office, asked Ji King. Okay. Jian Wushuang nodded. He was planning to go there as well. I have acquired a lot of life elixirs outside the Danshin Palace. They are all fire points. Jian Wushuang soon came to the Fire Point Exchange office and immediately took out the life elixirs he had obtained. He had attained 29 life elixirs and each one of them was worth 10,000 fire points. He left 4 life elixirs in case of emergency and exchanged the rest for fire points. So, he now owned a total of 250,000 fire points. I exchanged the treasures Dao Yuanzi left earlier but only gained 13,800 fire points. Their value is inferior to 2 life elixirs. Jian Wushuang sneered. H, you are lucky and just happened to encounter the appearance of the Danshin Palace, otherwise, there would be no chance for you to earn so many life elixirs. Moreover, these life elixirs are less valuable in the eternal chaotic world. Ji King sneered, in the eternal chaotic world, a drop of the ancient god power is much more expensive than a life elixir. But it is only worth 5,000 fire points here. Jian Wushuang was speechless. He also knew that the reason why life elixirs had such a high value was that the Green Fire Palace badly needed them currently. Nonetheless, although the ancient god power was rarely seen in the eternal chaotic world, it was much easier to be discovered on this battlefield. And that explained why its value would be so low. All right, forget about that. Now that you possess enough fire points, there's something that you can exchange, asked Ji King. What? Jian Wushuang asked. Look at those special treasures. Ji King answered. Jian Wushuang immediately fixed his eyes on them. There were numerous treasures of all sorts with different functions in the Firepoint Exchange office. Look at the special treasure whose value ranks the second, the Blaze Quicksand Gourd. Jiyu King answered. Oh. Jian Wushuang scanned the Blaze Quicksand Gourd. The Blaze Quicksand Gourd contains a lot of blaze quicksands and a secret skill. It can form a realm to suppress your enemy and trap him. It costs 210,000 fire points. It's so expensive. Jian Wushuang gasped in shock. He sold 25 life elixirs and only received 250,000 fire points. But this Blaze Quicksand Gourd would cost him 210,000 fire points. Even a chaos magic treasure would not demand such an exorbitant price. There are a few good things in the Firepoint Exchange office. I have observed them and discovered the Blaze Quicksand Gourd when you first came here. Unfortunately, it costs too many fire points and you couldn't afford it before, so I didn't mention it. Now, however, you can exchange it since you own enough fire points, asked Jiyu King. It should be a treasure that uses realm to suppress others from its introduction. It indeed is useful to me, but don't you think it demands an excessively high price? Is it really worth of so many fire points? Jian Wushuang could not help but ask. Yes, of course. Jiyu King continued, boy, although you haven't been to the eternal chaotic world, you know that chaos gems are the transaction currency there. Normally, the whole fortune of a celestial master is about 20 chaos gems. I know. Jian Wushuang nodded. He killed Dao Yuanzi and attained a few chaos gems. But do you know how many chaos gems does the Blaze Quicksand Gourd cost in the eternal chaotic world? Asked Jiyu King. How many? Jian Wushuang asked. At least 400,000 chaos gems. Even if someone is willing to pay a high price for it, there are simply not so many Blaze Quicksand Gourds on the market. Jiyu King answered. What? Jian Wushuang was astonished. He had never been to the eternal chaotic world and did not have a throughout understanding of the value of the chaos gem. But he could judge its value from the total fortune of a celestial master. A celestial master's fortune was worth around 20 chaos gems. 400,000 chaos gems were 20,000 times of that. The Blaze Quicksand Gourd is indeed very precious, like the Jin Kingdom. Although its monarch is powerful, even if you sell him, he isn't worth 400,000 chaos gems, under normal circumstances. However, the Green Fire Palace and the Jin Kingdom have obtained plenty of opportunities and treasures on this giant battlefield, and thus, their wealth cannot be judged by common sense. But in any case, using 210,000 fire points to exchange the Blaze Quicksand Gourd is absolutely worthwhile, asked Jiyu King. That will be good. Jian Wushuang smiled. My strength meets a bottleneck now. If I want to improve it, I can only make a breakthrough in sword principles. I'm required to advance the first sword principle to the highest level and become a Dao master. I assume there won't be any external treasures that enable my strength to increase by leaps and bounds. In terms of defensive ability, I possess the blood-killing plate armor and the golden image secret skill. So, this aspect cannot be improved either. Now the only thing I can promote is the special skill used for self-saving and killing enemies. The Blaze Quicksand Gourd suits me well. Neither Jian Wushuang's attack nor his defense could be improved presently. Naturally, he could only perfect the special skills that enabled him to kill enemies. Chapter 1131 Announcing the Result. Chapter 1131 Announcing the Result. After making the decision, Jian Wushuang immediately spent 210,000 fire points to exchange the Blaze Quicksand Gourd. Later, he returned to his residence. He sat cross-legged in the secret chamber alone. Jian Wushuang, this is a high-grade Blaze Quicksand Gourd. Although you have obtained it, you still have to take a lot of effort to refine it. As for the secret skill in it, it is even harder for you to cultivate. You should refine the Blaze Quicksand Gourd first, asked Jiyu King. I see. Jian Wushuang nodded and then began to refine it. Just as he was refining the Blaze Quicksand Gourd, a big event took place in the Green Fire Palace. Right on this day, Sunrise Sword Emperor, one of the palace masters of the Green Fire Palace, directly announced the person who was qualified to enter the sword world 40 years later. The Green Fire Palace controlled 3 secret lands which opened at set intervals and only one person was allowed to enter. Therefore, people vied for the opportunity to enter them crazily. Take the Sword World for example. It only opened every 100,000 years. Thus, the experts who specialized in sword principles were all waiting for that chance. Now, however, Sunrise Sword Emperor announced the owner of that chance personally. It turned out to be Jian Wushuang. All of a sudden, the entire Green Fire Palace was thrown in turmoil. It actually is Jian Wushuang. He has just joined the Green Fire Palace for less than 100 years. Who said that the decisive factor to get into the Sword World is the time one has spent in the Green Fire Palace? Nan had been to the Spacetime Secret Land although he has only stayed in the Green Fire Palace for a short period. Although Jian Wushuang has just stayed in the Green Fire Palace for a very short period, he has made great progress. He killed about 20 experts from the Jin Kingdom at one go in the battle of scrambling for the Danshin Palace. Moreover, he has seized 3 Nirvana elixirs under the nose of the Jin Kingdom's experts. He has made great contributions to our Green Fire Palace and I argue that this opportunity is the reward for his hard work. Our Green Fire Palace has always put the shoe on the right foot. Since he has made contributions and his gift in sword principles is fantastic, he will surely gain a great deal after returning from the Sword World. Maybe his strength will skyrocket again and reach the level of that of our palace masters. Many celestial masters discussed that in the Green Fire Palace. However, generally, there was no one questioning Jian Wushuang anymore. After all, in the battle for the Danshin Palace, Jian Wushuang had proved himself with absolute strength. Currently, celestial masters in the Green Fire Palace did not dare to belittle him. On the contrary, quite a few celestial masters secretly admired him at the bottom of their hearts. Jian Wushuang did deserve their admiration. The celestial masters in the Green Fire Palace accepted the decision to offer Jian Wushuang the opportunity to enter the Sword World. By the way, I heard that not long ago, several temple masters had the intention to let Celestial Master of Malignity enter the Sword World, but now Jian Wushuang gained that opportunity. How about Celestial Master of Malignity? They just planned to do so but have not made up their mind. And now that Jian Wushuang obtained this opportunity, he, of course, can only wait for the next time. The next time? To wait another 100,000 years. Hehe. Celestial Master of Malignity is by no means good-tempered. I don't know if he will cause Jian Wushuang trouble or not after learning the news. These celestial masters sighed with emotion. In an enormous palace in the Green Fire Palace, Celestial Master of Malignity received the information Sunrise Sword Emperor sent to him as well. As those celestial masters expected, he flew into a rage immediately. Bastard! This opportunity is mine. Tens of thousands of years ago, the 5 palace masters have reached a consensus in their hearts. Not long ago, I also personally asked Senior Sister Red Lotus about that and she told me that they would offer me this opportunity, but now... Celestial Master of Malignity looked ferocious and took out a token. Senior Sister, I need an explanation. Celestial Master of Malignity sent out the message. The 5th Palace Master of the Green Fire Palace was Red Lotus. She and Celestial Master of Malignity were born in the same era and they came from the same sect, hence, she was Celestial Master of Malignity's senior sister. This is the decision made by the other 4 Palace Masters. Although I tried my best to oppose it, I have to follow the rules. Red Lotus replied. Red Lotus did not think much of Jian Wushuang. When the 5 palace masters gathered in the ancient monster clan and Jian Nantian demanded to take Ji Wuming away, Red Lotus planned to take actions directly. He trusted neither Jian Nantian nor Jian Wushuang. Unfortunately, only she insisted to do that. The other 4 palace masters chose to believe Jian Nantian and Jian Wushuang. When Jian Wushuang joined the Green Fire Palace and experienced the battle for the Danshin Palace, his fame soared. Furthermore, his potential and strength convinced many celestial masters in the Green Fire Palace. Nevertheless, Red Lotus still held on to her own opinion. She opposed strongly when Sunrise Sword Emperor proposed to offer the opportunity to enter the Sword World to Jian Wushuang. But the other 4 agreed, so she had no other choice. Jian Wushuang. It's Jian Wushuang's fault. How long has he been in the Green Fire Palace? Didn't he just attain a few Nirvana elixirs in the battle for the Danshin Palace? Except for that, how can he compare with me? Why should I wait for another 100,000 years instead of him? Celestial Master of Malignity roared crazily, and his roars resounded through the entire palace. After a short while, his eyes turned scarlet. Jian Wushuang, I'd like to see what are you capable of. After finishing speaking, he stood up and walked straight out of the palace. Jian Wushuang still sat cross-legged in the secret chamber quietly, and a gold gourd floated in front of him. It was not big, just like an ordinary wine gourd, but it exuded an extremely unique aura. As Jian Wushuang lifted his eyebrows, a special mark was left on the gourd. In an instant, he had a connection with the gourd. I succeeded. Jian Wushuang opened his eyes, from which visibly pleasant surprise was revealed. Great, you've refined the blaze quicksand gourd. You should be able to control the blaze quicksands in the gourd, said Jiyu King. Of course. Jian Wushuang nodded and could clearly sense the enormous and terrifying force contained in the gourd. It was the blaze quicksand. It appeared to be a gourd, but in fact, there was a vast space where blaze quicksands could be seen everywhere in the gourd. Chapter 1132, Battle Invitation. Chapter 1132, Battle Invitation, Vroom. Jian Wushuang thought, and the blaze quicksand instantly burst out from the gourd. Rumble. The crimson blaze quicksand covered the sky and earth. There were rays of flame that flowed along with the quicksand too. They flowed in all directions like a storm. The secret chamber that Jian Wushuang was instantly shattered into powder. The terrifying force made the entire void collapse. So scary. Jian Wushuang was astonished at the sight. Everywhere that the blaze quicksand passed was destroyed and vanished. Its strangling power was extremely terrifying. Such a terrifying strangling power. Even if a celestial master was caught in it, I'm afraid he would be torn into pieces too, Jian Wushuang thought to himself. Just then, King of Venomous Worms spoke. To begin with, blaze quicksand is a scary substance in eternal chaotic world. The blaze quicksand gourd was made by some powerful weapon refinery masters. They gathered blaze quicksand together and refined it into this gourd. The moment you refine this gourd, you can control the blaze quicksand in it to fight against your enemy. On top of that, you are only a beginner in refining this gourd. You can only forcefully drive the blaze quicksand to kill your enemy, which is the dumbest way to do it. If you were to master the secret skill within the gourd, you would be able to control the blaze quicksand and use the regional skill. With the regional skill, you wouldn't even have to take any action, but the strangling power of the blaze quicksand would kill any advanced celestial masters who fall within. Without any action, I can kill an advanced celestial master? Jian Wushuang's eyes were wide open. One should know that an advanced celestial master wasn't considered weak when it came to defense skill. Jian Wushuang massacred many experts from Jin Kingdom during the fight of Danshin Palace because he knew the sheer shadow technique. However, there were hardly any advanced celestial masters. Once Jian Wushuang ran into those advanced celestial master with strong consciousness, he would find them hard to kill. But then, with the assistance of blaze quicksand gourd, it was very simple to kill an advanced celestial master. Even if he were a celestial master in exceptional realm, he might die by his hand if his power wasn't as great. This treasure lives up to its value of 210,000 fire points. This blaze quicksand gourd is really impressive. However, if this is such an impressive treasure, why didn't the few palace masters in Green Fire Palace exchange it? They left it at Fire Point Exchange Office? Jian Wushuang was curious. He didn't think further but quickly put the blaze quicksand gourd away. The moment he put it away, the secret chamber quickly repaired itself. On the piece of land where Green Fire Palace was located, any buildings and plants could recover themselves. Then, Jian Wushuang was preparing to study the secret skill within the blaze quicksand gourd, but suddenly, Jian Wushuang! There was a deep voice. Jian Wushuang lifted his head and went ahead to greet. Celestial Master Yu Ding. Jian Wushuang saw the incomer, Celestial Master Yu Ding, who invited him to Green Fire Palace back then. Haha, Jian Wushuang, How long has it been since I brought you to Greenfire Palace? You've already gained such fame on the battlefield. Haha, everyone knows you in Greenfire Palace. Celestial Master Yu Ding laughed. Jian Wushuang chuckled and replied, Celestial Master Yu Ding, you didn't come here to tell me this, right? Well, I didn't. Celestial Master Yu Ding became solemn and continued, Jian Wushuang, to be frank, I am here by a request. By a request? Jian Wushuang was stunned. Someone told me to give you this. Take a look. Celestial Master Yu Ding passed Jian Wushuang a jade slip. Jian Wushuang took and went through it simply with his consciousness. Then, his gaze grew strange. This is a battle invitation? Exactly. The content of the jade slip suggested a battle invitation. It was a battle invitation from Celestial Master Malignity. He invited Jian Wushuang to fight at Oblivion Palace. The battle invitation contained an intensely mocking and provocative tone. Celestial Master Malignity? Jian Wushuang creased his eyebrows and asked confusedly, I don't know Celestial Master Malignity and I share no resentment with him. Why did he send me a battle invitation out of nowhere? Jian Wushuang, you share no resentment with Celestial Master Malignity, but to be exact, you did offend him, Celestial Master Yu Ding replied. I offended him? When? Jian Wushuang was still confused. Didn't Sunrise Sword Emperor just announce that he'd give you the quota to enter Sword World? Celestial Master Yu Ding looked at him. Yes, he did. Jian Wushuang nodded faintly. Sunrise Sword Emperor told him that outside Danshin Palace earlier. He had also received an announcement from Sunrise Sword Emperor earlier. But what did it have to do with Celestial Master Malignity? Well, Celestial Master Malignity is also a sword cultivator and he is extremely gifted. On top of that, his senior was Palace Master Red Lotus. Hence, he was qualified to enter Sword World. Before you appear, the 5 Palace Masters once discussed and intended to give him the quota to enter Sword World. But now, because you have appeared, the Palace Masters passed you the quota to enter Sword World. Hence, he will have to wait for the next round, which is in another 100,000 years. Tell me now, did you offend him? Celestial Master smiled. Jian Wushuang was astonished. He had never expected the quota to enter Sword World that he was given had originally belonged to Celestial Master Malignity. Sword World only opened every 100,000 years. Celestial Master Malignity had waited for so long and it was finally his turn. But because of him, Celestial Master Malignity had to wait until the next opening, which would be in another 100,000 years. One should know that 100,000 years weren't short to Celestial Master Malignity. It would be normal if he was angry. When Sunrise Sword Emperor said that he is going to give me the quota, he never mentioned that it belonged to someone else, Jian Wushuang said. Although the few Palace Masters have the intention, they never confirmed it after all. Hence, it wasn't counted. Celestial Master Yu Ding laughed. Jian Wushuang shrugged. Even so, Celestial Master Malignity blamed him and it was a fact. Otherwise, why would he tell Celestial Master Yu Ding to send him a battle invitation on behalf? Jian Wushuang, Celestial Master Malignity isn't happy about it. Hence, he challenged you. He is also very smart about it. He already spread this news when he sent this invitation. Hence, almost all Celestial Masters in Greenfire Palace know that he sent you a battle invitation. If you were to not take up this challenge, there would be people who gossip. If you were to take up this challenge, Celestial Master Malignity isn't weak, Celestial Master Yu Ding said solemnly. Chapter 1133 Inside Oblivion Palace. Chapter 1133 Inside Oblivion Palace. He must have spread the word about the invitation. It seems that Celestial Master Malignity has made full preparation and is very confident, Jian Wushuang said with a smile. Of course he's confident, Celestial Master Yu Ding said. Celestial Master Malignity has become renowned for a long time ago. He's a long-time Celestial Master of the exceptional realm with exceptional speed. Even the Celestial Masters of Greenfire Palace are no match for him in terms of speed, and many Celestial Masters of the exceptional realm couldn't even defeat him because of that. In addition, the fight will be carried out inside Oblivion Palace. It's a vacant space without obstacles of any kind, allowing him to go full speed. Speed? Celestial Master Yu Ding, are you saying that his speed is his forte? Jian Wushuang's expression turned strange. He had just obtained the Blaze Quicksand Gourd, which could be used to control the Blaze Quicksand. It was the best weapon to restrict his opponent's speed. Now, there was an expert with incredible speed coming to him for a fierce battle. It seemed like the perfect time for him to practice the Blaze Quicksand. Will you accept the invitation? Yu Ding asked. Of course. Jian Wushuang nodded without hesitation. It's better to start early. Let's go, Yu Ding said. Okay. Jian Wushuang followed after Yu Ding. Together, they headed for Oblivion Palace. Oblivion Palace was located on the same land as Greenfire Palace. It looked like an ordinary palace, but its interior was an endless space that was enough to allow 2 universe masters to battle to their heart's content, let alone 2 celestial masters. There was already a crowd outside Oblivion Palace when Jian Wushuang and Yu Ding got there. Numerous Greenfire Palace experts stood there, talking in groups of 2s or 3s. When Jian Wushuang showed up, they all turned to look in his direction. Here comes Jian Wushuang. Haha, he really showed up. See, I told you he won't refuse the invitation. Jian Wushuang is incredibly skillful. He might not necessarily lose to Celestial Master Malignity. Of course he won't refuse it. The experts looked on, their excitement building. They had been worried that Jian Wushuang might not accept the invitation, but it seemed like their worries were unnecessary. Jian Wushuang, Celestial Master Malignity has been waiting for you inside Oblivion Palace. You can go in now, Yu Ding said. Okay. Jian Wushuang nodded and then entered the palace. It was dark and vast inside. The palace seemed boundless without an end. A purple-haired man in a luxurious robe stood tall in the dark void. He had his arms folded as he waited quietly for Jian Wushuang's arrival. Before long, the scarlet-robed Jian Wushuang appeared before the purple-haired man with a sword in hand. So, you're Jian Wushuang. Celestial Master Malignity's eyes gleamed with purple light, his gaze fixed on Jian Wushuang. Celestial Master Malignity. Jian Wushuang wore a kind smile on his face. There was no grudge between them in the first place. Celestial Master Malignity's anger was understandable as Jian Wushuang took a spot which was supposed to be his. Humph. I heard that you've made a name for yourself on the battlefield and even earned the praise and approval of the 5 palace masters. Sunrise Sword Emperor even suggested adding your name to the world of sword. Celestial Master Malignity clenched his fists tightly. Celestial Master Malignity, I didn't know that before. Jian Wushuang began to explain himself. Stop with the nonsense. Celestial Master Malignity waved his hand. Since you're so strong, show me what you've got. As soon as he finished speaking, he waved his hand again and tossed a token. Chem. Jian Wushuang's expression changed as he looked quizzically at the token that Celestial Master Malignity tossed aside. He could recognize that token. It was used to record the mirror image. People outside Oblivion Palace could not see what was going on inside. If Celestial Master Malignity were to record the battle, it was evident that he wanted to make it public. It seems that Celestial Master Malignity hates me so much that he intends to embarrass me in front of the public. Jian Wushuang wore a faint smile. He was not worried at all. Meanwhile, outside the palace, 2 people stood side by side. They were evidently Sunrise Sword Emperor and Palace Master Red Lotus, who had just hurried over from the battlefield. While others could not see what happened inside Oblivion Palace, they could see through everything. Celestial Master Malignity has such a bad temper. Red Lotus, won't you advise him as his senior sister? Sunrise Sword Emperor frowned. He's supposed to be listed in the world of swords, but Jian Wushuang stole his place. You can't blame him for getting angry over it, anyone else would have done the same. Besides, my junior brother simply wants to vent his rage. He isn't going to kill him, Red Lotus replied coldly. It was my idea to give the spot to Jian Wushuang. He didn't know about it. If Celestial Master Malignity isn't happy with it, he can come to me anytime. You're not just a palace master. You're also someone with the potential to be the future leader of Green Fire Palace. Do you seriously think that my junior brother will dare to come to you? Red Lotus chuckled. It's too late to talk about this now. Jian Wushuang is as unruly as his father. Isn't this the perfect chance to rectify his insolence? Haha, can Celestial Master Malignity teach him a lesson? I don't think so. Sunrise Sword Emperor laughed. What? You think that Celestial Master Malignity can't do anything to the kid? Don't forget that his speed is ranked first among all Celestial Masters. Fighting in Oblivion Palace also gives him an advantage. Even if Jian Wushuang has the strength of a Celestial Master of the Exceptional Realm, he'll still lose, Red Lotus said. Do you want to make a bet? Sunrise Sword Emperor glanced at Red Lotus. What would you like to bet? Red Lotus asked. Not too long ago, I heard you acquired a red source stone weighing over 6 kilograms from the battlefield. I might need it, Sunrise Sword Emperor said. Deal. If you lose, I want you to tutor my junior brother for a year. You must also give him the spot for the World of Swords when it opens in 100,000 years later, Red Lotus said. No problem, Sunrise Sword Emperor answered without hesitation. After the bet had been made, the two of them looked down at Oblivion Palace. Inside the palace, the battle between Jian Wushuang and Celestial Master Malignity had already begun. Chapter 1134, Blaze Quicksand displays its might. Chapter 1134, Blaze Quicksand displays its might. Jian Wushuang, I'll teach you how to respect your seniors. Even as Celestial Master Malignity's voice echoed throughout Oblivion Palace, he was already making a dash forward. He moved so swiftly that it felt as if the long distance was nothing. He appeared before Jian Wushuang in a flash. A dazzling arc of ice-cold sword light sliced through the void, aiming at Jian Wushuang almost instantly. His speed, Jian Wushuang was shocked. Though he had been told that Celestial Master Malignity could be extremely fast, he was still astonished by the terrifying display of speed. He had the battle prowess of Celestial Master of the Exceptional Realm, but he could not tell when Celestial Master Malignity drew his sword. The cold sword light was coming for him. As much as he wanted to block the incoming attack, he could not react any further. He drew his Blood Mountain sword to block it from piercing his chest. Clang! A deep crashing noise resounded as the power contained in the cold sword light sent him tumbling backward. Jian Wushuang, I haven't even gone all out against you yet. Celestial Master Malignity's voice resounded. Jian Wushuang's expression darkened. Suddenly, his pupils constricted in surprise. He saw Celestial Master Malignity rushing out with a greater speed this time. It was so fast that he could not hide his astonishment. Once again, Celestial Master Malignity appeared before him and shot him with numerous beams of sword light. The sharp and cold sword lights flew out one after another. Right then, it was as if Jian Wushuang had been trapped by the sea of sword light beams. They were everywhere with no gaps between the sword strikes. He moves quickly but his sword is even faster. Jian Wushuang's heart pounded furiously as he waved his sword to fend off the attacks. Likewise, he fully unleashed his speed sword principle and swung his Blood Mountain sword forward at an amazing speed. Clang! 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 A series of crashing sounds filled the air like thunder. This, Jian Wushuang's eyes went wide with disbelief. He thought that the speed sword principle that he developed would surpass every other Celestial Master. But now, Celestial Master Malignity's swordsmanship was evidently much faster than his when fully unleashed. It was now a competition of speed for them. Celestial Master Malignity evidently had the upper hand over Jian Wushuang. It was difficult enough to defend himself, never mind matching up to Celestial Master Malignity. I'm barely hanging on. Jian Wushuang wore a grave expression. One of the sword lights sent out by Celestial Master Malignity had gotten through the gap of his defense, stabbing towards his chest. There was no way he could dodge it. Boom! The sharp sword light slammed into his chest and the immense force sent him tumbling backward. It took him a while to regain his balance. Red Lotus smiled faintly when she saw this scene. Sunrise Sword Emperor, you're going to lose. Be patient. The battle has just started. It's too soon to tell, Sunrise Sword Emperor replied coldly. Red Lotus snorted. You're not convinced yet? Well, let's see how Jian Wushuang will play the game. Inside Oblivion Palace, Celestial Master Malignity turned to look at Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang, is that all you've got? Celestial Master Malignity smirked and said disdainfully, I heard that you killed a number of Celestial Master experts of the Jin Kingdom during a battle in the Loyalty Palace. Perhaps they were all just a bunch of rubbish? If you encounter a stronger opponent, I guess that you'll have no choice but run away. Jian Wushuang narrowed his eyes. Celestial Master Malignity's speed is indeed incredible. It's no surprise that his speed ranked first among everyone in the Green Fire Palace. Although I've managed to develop the swordplay of speed, I still can't match him in speed. He shook his head. He knew that he lagged behind in terms of speed. The fact that there was no obstruction in Oblivion Palace also gave his opponent a better advantage. If Celestial Master Malignity were to maintain such speed, there would be nothing that he could do. Eventually, he would be defeated. Suddenly, a smirk spread across his face. There is no doubt that I'll be crushed if I fought Celestial Master Malignity before, but now, Jian Wushuang, behave yourself and take this. Celestial Master Malignity howled in a low voice. He swiftly dashed into motion again. His figure appeared to be an illusionary flowing light going through the void. His speed was unprecedented that none of the Celestial Masters of Exceptional Realm could match up to. Other ordinary Celestial Masters could not even think about it. Celestial Master Malignity was peerless even if his opponents were Celestial Masters of the Exceptional Realm. Unfortunately, his rival was Jian Wushuang this time. Seeing that Celestial Master Malignity had dashed toward him again, Jian Wushuang flipped his arm, and a golden gourd appeared in his hand. Oh! Celestial Master Malignity's expression flickered. He had noticed Jian Wushuang's action but paid no heed to it. Meanwhile, outside Oblivion Palace, the mere sight of the golden gourd caused Master Red Lotus pupils to constrict. That is. Holding the golden gourd in hand, Jian Wushuang pulled the cork with the strength of his thought. A wave of terrifying power immediately erupted from the gourd. As it rumbled, seemingly endless quicksand surged out from the opening of the gourd. The quicksand carried a blue flame and contained enormous power. It swiftly swept across the surroundings and engulfed the entire Oblivion Palace in no time. The blaze quicksand pervaded the entire area of the vast void of Oblivion Palace. What's this? Celestial Master Malignity quickly halted to a stop. He frowned and looked around at the vast expanse of blaze quicksand. A bad feeling instantly loomed over him. Jian Wushuang grinned. A wild wind was raving under his control. Suddenly, the blaze quicksand turned into a sandstorm, blasting towards Celestial Master Malignity. Crap! Celestial Master Malignity's face took on a ghastly expression. He tried to move away to dodge the sandstorm. Soon, he found out that the sandstorm was unavoidable. It blasted out in all directions, sweeping through any obstacle barring its path. No matter where he went, the sandstorm would emerge in front of him and surged towards him. Celestial Master Malignity wielded his long sword recklessly, sending out brutal sword essence one after another. He continued struggling against the sandstorm. Suddenly, a ruthless sword light was unleashed by Celestial Master Malignity, ripping up the sandstorm before him. As soon as the sandstorm was broken, a figure charged at him. It was Jian Wushuang. Heaven's bane. Jian Wushuang wore a cold expression. The Blood Mountain sword in his hand unleashed a terrifying burst of power, getting closer and closer to his opponent. Humph! Celestial Master Malignity snorted, and immediately wielded his sword to fend off the attack. Boom! Celestial Master Malignity was sent flying backward following the loud explosion. He then slammed into the sandstorm behind him. Chapter 1135, Gain the Upper Hand. Chapter 1135, Gain the Upper Hand. Boom! The sandstorm burst open and Celestial Master Malignity reappeared. Jian Wushuang grinned. Celestial Master Malignity, your speed is indeed incredible, but you're much weaker than mine strength-wise. It was true that in terms of speed, Celestial Master Malignity was the fastest among all Celestial Masters that he had ever met. However, speaking of offensive power, Celestial Master Malignity was just a little better than an advanced Celestial Master. He was still way below any other Celestial Master of the exceptional realm. When he unleashed Heaven's Bane, Celestial Master Malignity was immediately rendered to a distinct disadvantage since it was a competition of power. Bastard. Celestial Master Malignity looked gloomy. He looked at the blaze quicksand that had engulfed the entire Oblivion Palace. He could feel the terrifying power surging from it. His heart raced as his eyes tracked the blaze quicksand. Celestial Master Malignity, let's see who the loser will be. Jian Wushuang chuckled as he sprang into motion. Celestial Master Malignity moved at the same time. The sandstorm appeared in front of him the moment he moved, blasting him with ferocious power. Damn it! Celestial Master Malignity cursed. He had to stop moving to fend off the sandstorm. However, after being fended off for one time, the sandstorm came blasting again. It came one after another, seemingly without an end. Under the impact of the sandstorm, he could hardly exert his speed. On the contrary, Jian Wushuang could attack as he wished. They were no longer competing in terms of speed, but power instead. If he was not threatened by the blaze quicksand, he could easily dodge Jian Wushuang's attack. But now, he could not do anything. He could only withstand with all his might. When they were fighting head-on, the sword power of Jian Wushuang was way stronger than him. Boom, 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 boom. Rumbling sounds continued to reverberate in Oblivion Palace. Several breaths later, swoosh. Celestial Master Malignity was sent tumbling backward once again. He looked absolutely miserable with his face ashen and blood oozing out of the corners of his mouth. He was evidently badly injured. Jian Wushuang continued to emanate a vigorous aura and his battle prowess was still in peak condition. Celestial Master Malignity, are you convinced now? Jian Wushuang stood before Celestial Master Malignity with a smug smile on his face. Damn! Celestial Master Malignity fixed his gaze at Jian Wushuang. His resentment was rapidly building. He was not convinced at all. He was angry with the fact that the spot to enter the world of swords was given to Jian Wushuang. To make things worse, he could not hurt Jian Wushuang even for a bit. Instead, Jian Wushuang even defeated him. Ever since Jian Wushuang utilized the Blaze Quicksand Gourd, it posed a big obstacle in Celestial Master Malignity's attempt to make use of his speed. Under such circumstance, the strength of Celestial Master Malignity could only be considered slightly better than that of an advanced Celestial Master. Without his speed, he could do nothing but get defeated. When Sunrise Sword Emperor said he'd give me the spot to enter the world of swords to me, I didn't know that you were one of the candidates. I didn't mean to take your place. If you don't believe me, you can ask Sunrise Sword Emperor about it, Jian Wushuang said in a low voice. I know that you're angry, but things happen. Either way, I won't hand you the spot as you wish. If you're still unconvinced, you can pick another fight with me. But let me remind you that you're definitely not powerful enough to defeat me now. He then returned the Blaze Quicksand to the Golden Gourd and left without sparing Celestial Master Malignity another glance. Celestial Master Malignity stood there quivering as he watched Jian Wushuang leave. His heart was filled with frustrations. The 5 Palace Masters commanded the utmost authority in Greenfire Palace. There was nothing he could do if they had decided to let Jian Wushuang enter the world of swords. He just wanted to mess with Jian Wushuang to vent his rage and frustration. But in the end, he did not even teach Jian Wushuang a lesson and suffered defeat instead. Meanwhile, numerous Celestial Masters had gathered outside Oblivion Palace to wait for the result. It has been quite some time. Don't you think the battle between Jian Wushuang and Celestial Master Malignity should have ended by now? Who do you think will be the winner? Do you still have to ask? Of course it'd be Celestial Master Malignity. I agree. His speed gives him an absolute advantage from the beginning. The Celestial Masters chatted among themselves, most of them believing that the winner of the battle would be Celestial Master Malignity. After all, Celestial Master Malignity had made a name for himself a long time ago. His incredible display of speed was also well known. After a while, Jen Wushuang stepped out of Oblivion Palace. The Green Fire Palace experts immediately turned to look in his direction. Jen Wushuang is out. Why is he the one to come out first? What about Celestial Master Malignity? Jen Wushuang looks calm and his aura is steady. It seems like he isn't injured. They all wore strange expressions. Celestial Master Yu Ding came to Jen Wushuang and asked with a smile, "What's the outcome?" "The result." Jen Wushuang smiled faintly. "You can ask Celestial Master Malignity when he comes out. I'll be leaving first." He ignored the other Celestial Masters and headed for his residence. Those Celestial Masters continued to wait around. Soon, Celestial Master Malignity walked out. They noticed that Celestial Master Malignity had a bitter expression on his face. "Celestial Master Malignity, what's the outcome?" "Celestial Master Malignity, didn't you tell us that you would record the battle with the mirror token? Where is it?" A Celestial Master came to ask him. "The mirror token?" Celestial Master Malignity's face darkened. "I didn't use the mirror token." "What?" the Celestial Masters asked in disbelief. When they received the message, Celestial Master Malignity had clearly said that he would use the mirror token to record the battle. Jen Wushuang is indeed powerful. He gained the upper hand in this battle. That was all Celestial Master Malignity had to say. He ignored the rest of the questions and left immediately. A commotion broke out outside Oblivion Palace. The upper hand? Did Celestial Master Malignity say that Jen Wushuang gained the upper hand? Did he really admit it? How could it be possible? Not losing the battle would be the best result that Jen Wushuang could hope for. How could it be possible that he even gained the upper hand? He didn't even show us the mirror token. Is it true that Jen Wushuang only gained the upper hand? Is there more to the story? These Celestial Masters could not stop thinking about it. Nearly all of them thought that Jen Wushuang would lose the battle, but the result had turned out so differently. Chapter 1136, Golden Axe. Chapter 1136, Golden Axe. Red Lotus and Sunrise Sword Emperor hovered above Oblivion Palace. "Give me the red source stone," Sunrise Sword Emperor said, beaming. The corner of Red Lotus' mouth twitched as she took out the stone with a wave of her hand and handed it to him. "Did you already know that Jen Wushuang has exchanged for the Blaze Quicksand Gourd?" she asked, staring fixedly at him. "Yes, and so do the other 3 palace masters." Sunrise Sword Emperor smiled. "We all think that he has so much potential that he might end up becoming the future leader of Green Fire Palace. We have been keeping an eye on him and naturally know what treasures he exchanged for in the Fire Points exchange office. You, however, look down on him and wouldn't be inclined to pay him any mind. Of course you wouldn't know about that." Red Lotus snorted but did not rebut him. "Instead," she said, "Blaze Quicksand Gourd is an extraordinary treasure. The only reason we sold it is that we have our unique treasures and have no use for it. I didn't think he would exchange for it. If I'm not mistaken, the gourd is worth over 200,000 fire points. He hasn't even been in Green Fire Palace for long. Where did he get all those points?" Jen Wushuang obtained many divine soul pills back when Danshin Palace came to the world. "It's more than enough to cover the cost of the gourd," Sunrise Sword Emperor answered. "Is that so?" Red Lotus nodded and then snorted again. "The kid sure is lucky." Then, her figure turned illusory and vanished. Sunrise Sword Emperor followed suit shortly after. Back in Green Fire Palace, Celestial Master Malignity had yet to return to his residence. "Celestial Master Malignity," a figure came chasing after him. "Yes." Malignity turned around. When he saw who it was, his expression relaxed. "It's you, Celestial Master Golden Axe. How may I help you?" he asked. Golden Axe was a short and stout old man with a mellow face and amiable smile. He left a good expression on all those who met him for the first time. Their relationship was decent. Thus, Malignity showed him a little more courtesy. "Nothing much. I'm just curious about what happened in Oblivion Palace." Golden Axe chuckled. "Well," Malignity frowned. He would not have been polite if some other celestial master asked him this, but this was Golden Axe after all. He was a comrade that went through life and death with him on the huge battlefield. It's a bit embarrassing. I wanted to teach Jian Wushuang a lesson, but he's stronger than expected. Moreover, he's also equipped with a powerful treasure, Malignity explained. Treasure? What is it? Golden Axe asked. All I know is that it's a golden gourd that pours out a massive amount of quicksand. It's terrifying. The quicksand formed one sandstorm after another to attack me, preventing me from moving at full speed. That was how he gained the upper hand. Though he said that Jian Wushuang gained the upper hand, the truth was that Jian Wushuang had defeated him. I see. Golden Axe frowned. Celestial Master Malignity, the mirror token. I've already told you that I didn't use the mirror token, Malignity said in a low and deep voice. It was a lie, of course. He had used the mirror token since the very beginning and clearly recorded the course of the battle. He would not have minded circulating the mirror image if it was an easy victory over Jian Wushuang. However, he would not be so stupid as to show scenes of his embarrassing defeat to others. I see. Then I shall ask no further, Golden Axe said, face full of smiles. Malignity nodded and took his leave. Meanwhile, Golden Axe headed for Jian Wushuang's mansion. My young friend Jian Wushuang, I'm Golden Axe. I'm here to visit you. Jian Wushuang had just returned to his mansion. His expression changed after hearing the old man's booming voice. Golden Axe. Celestial Master Golden Axe. He knew some of the celestial masters of Green Fire Palace. Naturally, he had heard of Golden Axe. Golden Axe kept an incredibly low profile. He was never one to flaunt or easily get into fights with other celestial masters of Green Fire Palace. Moreover, he was truly a good-natured, kind person. Both his temper and public reputation was equally as good. Typically, he would not refuse requests from those in Green Fire Palace, be it lending fire points or researching formations. Even if other celestial masters were in danger on the battlefield and asked for his help, he would also spare no effort in trying to rescue them even at the expense of his life. If other celestial masters harmed his interests or wronged him, he would usually smile and let it go as long as it was not too serious an offense. He was candid, loyal, and incredibly generous. Even though he was only an advanced celestial master, the others respected him greatly. They were all delighted to befriend him. Hence, he enjoyed the greatest popularity in Green Fire Palace. Jian Wushuang immediately came out to welcome Golden Axe when he learned that the latter was his guest. I'm Jian Wushuang. Nice to meet you, Celestial Master Golden Axe, Jian Wushuang said humbly. Haha. My young friend, you're too polite. You're stronger than me. I don't deserve such etiquette. Golden Axe laughed amiably. If you don't mind, you can call me Golden Axe or Brother Golden Axe. Sure. Jian Wushuang nodded with a smile. Brother Golden Axe, please come in. He led Golden Axe into the mansion and the two of them sat down by a table. With a wave of his hand, he took out some fine wine and dishes. My young friend, I come to seek a friendship with you. I'm also curious about your battle with Celestial Master Malignity, Golden Axe said. There was nothing important about the battle. I simply got lucky and gained the upper hand. Jian Wushuang deflected the topic with a short and simple sentence. Oh. Golden Axe asked no further. He began chatting with Jian Wushuang about the other matters in Green Fire Palace instead. After drinking and chatting for half a day, Golden Axe Celestial Master finally stood up and was about to leave. Chapter 1137, Quicksand Realm. Chapter 1137, Quicksand Realm. This is my message token, my young friend. Let me know if there is anything I can do for you. Celestial Master Golden Axe handed Jian Wushuang a message token and then took his leave. Take care. Jian Wushuang saw him off. Now alone, Jian Wushuang turned the message token over in his hand with a strange smile on his face. Celestial Master Golden Axe sure is a good person. He treats me so warmly though we've just met. He smiled, having had a favorable impression of Golden Axe. Jiu King snorted. He would have died many times over if you put him in the eternal chaotic world. He sure is lucky to have survived for several million years in Greenfire Palace. Well, Jian Wushuang was stupefied. He knew how cruel this world could be. People like Golden Axe typically would not survive long here, yet Golden Axe became an exception to the rule. Putting him aside, I've just fought Celestial Master Malignity and learned the true power of the Blaze Quicksand Gourd. I need to find a way to cultivate the secret skill concealed in the gourd. Only then will I be able to master the real Blaze Quicksand realm, Jian Wushuang murmured. He then returned to his secret chamber and began isolating himself. Meanwhile, Golden Axe did not travel far away from Jian Wushuang's mansion before stopping midair. He glanced at the mansion, a cold and insidious expression taking over his typically amicable face. Jian Wushuang. I didn't expect he'd acquire such an extraordinary treasure after just returning from the battlefield. To think it could even restrict Celestial Master Malignity's speed. His defense will be enhanced even further with such a treasure. Looks like it'll be even harder to kill him now. However, hard as it is, there will still be an opportunity. I must be patient, take it slowly, and befriend him first. Since the world of swords would not open for another 40 years, Jian Wushuang isolated himself in the secret chamber to cultivate the secret skill inside the Blaze Quicksand Gourd. The abstruse secret skill required the use of the Blaze Quicksand Gourd. After studying the skill for a long time, he finally found the method to do so. He finally mastered the secret skill after 31 years. I finally made it. He opened his eyes, which were filled with joy. With the cultivation of the secret skill complete, he took out the golden gourd and pulled out the plug without hesitating. Under his control, the Blaze Quicksand surged out of the gourd. Quicksand Realm. Jian Wushuang's gaze sharpened as he used the skill. Then, the madly surging Blaze Quicksand combined in a distinct rhythm and filled the entire secret chamber. Whoosh! An immaterial realm was formed. The realm was formed entirely out of dense Blaze Quicksand and would focus its pressure in the direction that Jian Wushuang thought of. Boom! The space inside the secret chamber erupted under the immense pressure. The pressure was strong enough to cause Celestial Masters to tremble. Terrific! Jian Wushuang's eyes glinted. Since he was the master of this realm, he knew just how strong it was. He was sure that if he maximized the power of the realm, it would be enough to crush ordinary Celestial Masters. He could even grind an advanced Celestial Master into ash with the pressure of the realm. Only experts stronger than Celestial Master of the exceptional realm could survive the pressure. Even so, their overall strength would be largely restricted. Take Celestial Master Malignity for example. Malignity was the fastest Celestial Master in the entire Greenfire world. However, Jian Wushuang estimated that Malignity could only exert 10% of his regular speed at most while trapped in the Quicksand realm. Moreover, Malignity could also only exert 30% of his full strength at most. Considering how much Malignity's strength would be suppressed in a true battle between them, Jian Wushuang was confident of emerging the victor if he used all his might. How fearsome! When I was weak, I cultivated several skills that involved the use of realms, but those skills could at most reduce my opponent's strength by 10 to 20%. I was never able to crush my opponent to death using the realm's pressure alone. The pressure of the Quicksand realm has exceeded all expectations. Since it could reduce the strength of ordinary Celestial Masters of exceptional realm by 70%, I bet it'll also affect Universe Masters. With this realm, anyone weaker than the exceptional realm won't be able to threaten me anymore. Even if a dozen or over 100 advanced Celestial Masters team up to attack me, nearly no one would be able to escape once I activate the realm. Jian Wushuang sighed emotionally. He had never felt more excited before. The might of the Blaze Quicksand Gourd was far beyond his imagination. It's still too early to be happy. Mighty as the Quicksand realm is, it's only useful against certain Celestial Masters. It's still not powerful enough to deal with Universe Masters. Of course, once you become a Dao Master and make great breakthroughs in your strength, even Universe Masters won't be able to belittle your technique, Jiu King said. Jian Wushuang frowned. Treasures required the user's strength to exert their power. For example, Jian Wushuang had only succeeded in using a chaos divine treasure, the mountain river map, once, and it only happened after he engulfed King Luozhen's essence blood. Typically, he would not be able to use the mountain river map. In contrast, Quicksand Realm required less strength from him. Even so, Jian Wushuang was barely able to summon a small portion of the realm's power. He would have to enhance his strength to maximize the use of the realm. The Quicksand Realm gives me another trump card. The World of Swords is going to open in 9 years. This is a big opportunity that can't be missed. In the following 9 years, I should prepare adequately so I can secure the greatest harvest there. Then, he started his preparation for the World of Swords. Chapter 1138, A Tall Tree. Chapter 1138, A Tall Tree. 9 years swiftly passed. Jian Wushuang was still in his secret chamber when an indifferent man with a long sword on his back appeared above Jian Wushuang's mansion. Jian Wushuang. His cold voice traveled through many layers of restrictions to reach Jian Wushuang's ears. Jian Wushuang was immediately awakened. His body turned illusory and in the following second, he appeared in front of the man. Sunrise Sword Emperor. Jian Wushuang bowed to the man. It's been 100,000 years. The World of Swords is opening again. Come with me, Sunrise Sword Emperor said. Yes. Jian Wushuang nodded, despite the surprise he felt inside. He thought Sunrise Sword Emperor would send someone to take him to the World of Swords. He followed Sunrise Sword Emperor to the wormhole of Green Fire Palace. They traveled through the wormhole and arrived somewhere on the massive battlefield. Is the location of the secret land of the World of Swords? Jian Wushuang frowned as he scanned his surroundings. He saw a giant and boundless plain covered in a dense layer of grass. The most eye-catching thing on the plain was a tall tree. Though it was big and tall, it did not look very different from ordinary trees. Jian Wushuang followed Sunrise Sword Emperor as they walked up to the tree. The World of Swords lies inside the tree, Sunrise Sword Emperor said in an emotionless voice. What? Inside the tree? Jian Wushuang asked in surprise. The secret land of the World of Swords was inside such an ordinary tree. Be patient. We'll wait here for a moment and soon you'll get your answer. Sunrise Sword Emperor closed his eyes. Thus, Jian Wushuang stayed and waited. Just like that, 3 days quickly passed. Suddenly, an ancient aura came out of the tree and its central trunk began to wriggle. It's time. Sunrise Sword Emperor opened his eyes and stared at the tree. Jian Wushuang followed suit in staring fixedly at the tree. The trunk continued to wriggle until a dark and spiraling tunnel appeared. This tunnel that led to a mysterious world was big enough for one person. This is the tunnel to the World of Swords. Remember, you can stay there for no more than 10 years. Whether or not you achieve anything, you'll be sent back when the deadline comes. Of course, you'll achieve a lot considering how talented you are, Sunrise Sword Emperor explained. 10 years. Jian Wushuang gave a small nod. That's enough talk. Get in, Sunrise Sword Emperor said. Jian Wushuang entered the mysterious spiraling tunnel without hesitation. He reappeared as a light flared and found himself still on a plain. Achem. Jian Wushuang frowned as he examined his surroundings. He was still on a large and boundless plain, which seemed identical to the one he was on before. He also spotted a tall tree here. The difference was that this tree was much larger than the one he saw across the tunnel. He stared at the tree in astonishment. This is enormous. This tree was tens of thousands of times and even hundreds of thousands of times larger than the tree before. It was enough to shock him. He had never seen such a large tree in his entire life. He even thought that this tree might be bigger than the entire eternal world. When Jian Wushuang took a closer look at the tree, it appeared different. This isn't a tree. This is a huge sword. Jian Wushuang's voice was trembling. It was indeed a massive sword. It was a sword that could shock the whole world. No, that's not right. Jian Wushuang squinted. This time, he focused on the trunk of the tree. Millions of branches extended from the lush tree, forming such a full cover that they looked like a palm leaf fan. There were still countless leaves on the tiny branches. Jian Wushuang correctly guessed that the tree was not simply a huge sword. Its branches and leaves could all turn into swords. These swords all contained a perfect sword principle each. This large tree was a huge sword that contained a complete sword principle. This sword principle was also the strongest one. The trunk was a sword with a complete sword principle of the creation level. Each branch was a sword with a complete sword principle of the universe level. Even the individual leaf was a sword with a complete sword principle of the general level. There was an abundance of sword principles here. These distinct and different sword principles were in perfect harmony. Most importantly, they were all derived from the tree. Is this a single sword that yields millions of swords? Jian Wushuang was utterly stupefied. He was this shocked because he had figured out the principle of the tree. The tree that was not an actual tree was, in fact, a complete and amazing sword principle. Most of all, in the same manner that a tree would grow branches and leaves, this sword principle also grew thousands of principles of the creation, universe, and general levels. What an incredible sword principle! What an incredible method! I put so much effort into studying coalescence sword principle all so I can gather different sword principles and coalesce them. But this tree grows hundreds of thousands of sword principles. It's completely opposite to my method. Jian Wushuang stared fixedly at the tree. In just a split second, he had gained many realizations. Unification sword and derivative swords had completely opposing natures. Nevertheless, they shared many similarities. Previously, Jian Wushuang had focused on learning to unify sword principles. He had failed to perfect it as he had done the coalescence clumsily. Now, as he stared at the tree, he came to realize the flaw in his process. Derivative swords means growing like a tree. The coalescent sword principle is just like millions of rivers converging to form the vast sea. Jian Wushuang's eyes gleamed. Chapter 1139, Coalescence. Chapter 1139, Coalescence. Jian Wushuang sat down cross-legged in the world of swords, concentrating on the tree in front of him. He continued to receive enlightenment. Simultaneously, he could faintly find his own path. It was a path that could lead him to turn the coalescence sword principle of the creation level into the strongest sword principle. Coalescence sword principle, namely unification sword, will unite everything in the same way the sea converges all rivers. All rivers flow into the sea. He gradually closed his eyes and began to carefully study the sword principle. He carefully observed the way the tree derived, and the image turned into a huge picture in his mind. There was a core in the middle of the picture, branching out into numerous light rays. What he was currently doing was integrating the countless lights into the core. His understanding of the coalescence sword principle deepened as time passed. It would have taken him years to figure out the way and direction to break through. However, being able to watch the tree grow in the world of swords made his task much simpler. Comprehension became much easier now that he had a direction in mind. 10 years passed just like that as he meditated. Jian Wushuang opened his eyes as he sat before the tree, his sword essence now completely changed. It used to be fierce and aggressive, but it was now like a huge black hole that swallowed everything around him. His sword essence was as deep as a bottomless pit. It was mysterious, magnificent, and ready to embrace the whole world. Coalescent sword principle is the first sword principle that I developed, and it's finally at its strongest level after continuous evolution. Jian Wushuang looked pleasantly surprised. In his 10 years in the world of swords, he had succeeded in advancing the coalescent sword principle through the continuous evolution in his mind. The coalescent sword principle of the strongest level could contain all sword principles of inferior levels. It could also contain his 2 other sword principles, speed sword principle and yin-yang sword principle, as they were only of the creation level. Just then, he felt an incorporeal fluctuation sweeping him. He was surprised. My time here is up just as I finished evolving the coalescent sword principle. Perfect timing. Jian Wushuang grinned. With a flash of light, he reappeared outside of the world of swords. He found himself standing in front of a tree that was neither as tall as the one in the world of swords or carried the same special sword essence. Sunrise Sword Emperor was waiting for him. Swoosh. Jian Wushuang walked out of the tree under a flickering light. Achem. Sunrise Sword Emperor was surprised when he saw Jian Wushuang. He was, after all, the #1 sword cultivator in the Green Fire world and second to none in terms of sword principles. Sensitive to sword principles as he was, he could clearly sense the amazing change in Jiang Wushuang. Congratulations, Jian Wushuang, Sunrise Sword Emperor said. Jian Wushuang laughed brightly. I could detect a majestic sword essence from you. It seems capable of containing everything. If I'm not mistaken, you must have developed a strongest sword principle, Sunrise Sword Emperor said. Yes. I've named it Coalescent Sword Principle, Jian Wushuang answered frankly. Coalescent Sword Principle? Unification Sword? Interesting. Sunrise Sword Emperor nodded. Since you've developed a strongest sword principle, I think you'll soon become a Tao Master and then a Celestial Master. When that day comes, I'd like to have a battle with you. Okay. Jian Wushuang nodded with a smile. Inside Jian Wushuang, Jiyu King laughed. He's gifted in sword principle but lacks a broad outlook being confined in the Green Fire world. He doesn't realize your real potential. He wants to fight with you when you become a Celestial Master. That's unnecessary. You can even beat him after becoming a Tao Master. Well, Jian Wushuang was speechless. Well, let's go back, Sunrise Sword Emperor said. He then took Jian Wushuang back to Green Fire Palace quickly. Sunrise Sword Emperor excused himself after they arrived at the palace. Jian Wushuang also began his preparation to become a Tao Master. If he wanted to be a Tao Master from the Eternal Realm, the most crucial thing to do was developing his own path. Jian Wushuang had already developed his own path and fulfilled other factors for his breakthrough. He had been suppressing his level because he was waiting to develop a strongest sword principle. Now that he had succeeded, it was naturally time to become a Tao Master. Nevertheless, he was an inverse cultivator. Compared to ordinary warriors, it was harder for him to break through and thus, needed a complete preparation. You probably won't face any problems in breaking through, but as an inverse cultivator, you may cause a commotion. You might attract unnecessary attention if you make your breakthrough here, Jiyu King said. I see. Jian Wushuang gave a small nod. Since Tao Masters were among top experts in the Green Fire world, it was normal for there to be a commotion when a warrior tried to advance into a Tao Master. He would cause an even greater stir as an inverse cultivator. He had proven his potential with his absolute strength and convinced many Celestial Masters of Green Fire Palace to acknowledge him. Since there was no need to show off again, he should find an isolated place and complete his breakthrough alone. Why don't you do it on the battlefield? The battlefield is massive. Though there would be many experts of Green Fire Palace and the Jin Kingdom wandering around, it will be hard to come across any of them. I can find a secret place to break through there and I doubt I'll be disturbed. Besides, I've planned to enter the battlefield after the breakthrough all along. With that, Jian Wushuang made up his mind. He then left for the battlefield once again. Few people knew about his departure, save for several Palace Masters and Celestial Masters whom he informed. However, Celestial Master Golden Axe somehow got wind of it. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories,